What's going on, guys? Zedd here, bringing another Soul Calibur 6 video. We're going to go over my current updated tier list. Now this time I'm doing it a little differently. I'm going to do it while I'm streaming, so it won't be quite as written out and scripted as it generally is, although, as you guys probably know, I don't really like to script out my stuff as it is. So I'm gonna redo it from the top down. I'm not even gonna refer to my old list. I mean, I looked at it briefly, but I'm just gonna kind of break it down because a lot of my opinions on a lot of characters have shifted over the last couple weeks. And after having some discussions with other players, I've also changed my thoughts on some other characters as well. So yeah, with that said, let's just get right into it and let's just see how we do. I'm going to try to go from the top down, and I'm going to try to order them left to right. You'll see that Cassandra is not on this list yet, so we will put her down as well, and we'll go from there. And then for those of you on the stream, I will update the panel down below. If you want to see my old tier list, it is in one of the panels down below, and that is my current, as of before this video and streams, tier list. But by the end of this, we will update it. Put my main at the bottom. I don't know who your main is, dog. Alright, so I think we're probably going to need more tiers or different levels of tiers than these 5. So we'll just kind of go as, or update it as we go along. What's up, Circa? No, Maxi, hell no, brother. You know that. Circa's the reason why I don't think Maxi's OP, true story. Rich Sticks, get out of here. IRM, trash. Circa's where it's at. Alright, well, let's start with the obvious, yeah? Or let's start with the ones that are a little easier to talk about. But then it'll immediately go from something easy into hot takes, so bear with me. First off, I'm going to add another row. I'll change the colors after as well. Now, for the record, I think that Aswell could be... I think he could be fine. And you know what? Prior to this, I was thinking that we were getting closer to a point in time where he wasn't on his own tier. But you know what? At the end of the day, and I think that... Well, okay, first off, at the end of the day, he's just so fundamentally sound that he can really bring out the strength. Excuse me, he can really bring out the strength in a good player. And a good player can pilot him in a way that's very simple and effective. And I think that's my problem with Aswell. So it leads me to my next point. His simplicity and his effectiveness ratios are almost too high. Now, I'm not an advocate of high execution equals high tier or high execution equals high results. Like that's not what I'm saying. But I do have a problem with you giving a good player Aswell, giving them all the fundamental tools that they could ask for in the game. With most of his stances and moves from those stances being good, like Axe and Sword being quite good and Shield being hit or miss, depending on the situation. And all of a sudden, he's able to win the game. And then when you pop his Soul Charge, you're basically playing neutral, Kappa, and you can just delete the opponent's guard gauge, you can rush them down, you can zone them out, you have unlimited muscle busters, and you have access to all the moves, such as 3B, 3A, 6B, 2A, AA, AB, 4B, 1A, like the full crouch 1A, 1B. Like you have access to all of his best moves at the exact same time. Aswell is crazy when he has all those moves going at the same time. But what makes him really interesting, and this is kind of my problem, is you're literally able to play him with like Geralt levels of simplicity, but without the struggles that Geralt faces and with the strength that other characters yearn for. Because the biggest offender, I think, and I know a lot of people talk about his O-key and his 3B and his Axe low, but I actually don't think that's where his strength resides necessarily. As I often say, activates neutral. Yeah, exactly. His soul charge is neutral. What do you mean? I think Aswell's strengths rely in the fact that he literally has all the fundamental buttons that we all talk about, or that we all talk about you want when you play Soul Calibur. He just has them, and he has all of them. And the best example I can give is his 3A. So his 3A, when he's in Axe form, is a relatively fast mid-horizontal combo starter safe on block with good range. Like, who has a mid horizontal that does what Aswell's in Axe form 3A does, other than like maybe two or three in the game? Probably, and I talked about this yesterday or the day before with Circa actually, and I said that Maxi's 22A is it's very similar to Aswell's 3A. The difference between the two is Aswell's 3A is actually faster. So it's like it's insane that he gets a neutral button like that. Now, what's Aswell's weaknesses? Well, he doesn't really have any lows, at least that he has immediate access to. He doesn't have any kicks, so GIs and auto GIs kind of gain a little more value against the character. His reversal edge game is meh. His post GI game is meh, and his block punishment is meh. So he doesn't really have great defensive options, but at the same time, his neutral game is so strong that it's actually hard to get Aswell in a position where he is on the back foot. And I think maybe that's where Bandai is coming from. Is like, oh well, he's not that great on defense. He really has to spend his meter. And it's like, all right, cool. But Aswell doesn't really need to use CE. Frankly, he doesn't really get to use CE that often, therefore he's able to soul charge. And because 3B lethal hit is a thing, he can generate meter. So it's a little weird to me that I mean, I'm just assuming that they think that maybe his defense is lacking to make up for his neutral and offense, but it's so hard to put him in a defensive state of the game anyway. So like it doesn't really matter. Anyway, so I think Aswell's crazy, and I don't think it's because of the 3B axe low. I don't actually think that. I think it's because of the raw fundamental and neutral game that he has access to, and just the sheer strength of him when he pops his soul charge. With how many different moves and things you have to consider, I literally have 2 pages of notes on Aswell, and it talks about how to beat each stance. But then when you pop soul charge, now I have to apply all of these notes. Like, it's a little crazy, right? It's a little crazy. What's up, Corvette? How are you? So anyway, that's Aswell. That's Aswell. I'm sure I missed something there, but that's Aswell for you. Oh yeah, and the scaling off of full crouch 3A, wall splat into double bar super is just non-existent, like Nani. All right, so that's Aswell. I think he's on his own in S plus. Um, and I mean, just to close off that conversation, if there's any proof, um, the best example to look at is Rich Sticks. He literally picked up Aswell recently. He wins with like 5 moves. Literally wins with 5 moves. And yet he's been a maxi main this entire time. Like it's silly to me. It's just silly to me. Put Aswell on the defensive. He activates Nooch Cry. Yeah, exactly, dude. Comment on his panties and soul charge. Dude, he literally took Aswell's panties. He stole them and he wears them. Facts. Look at the lore. Just look at the lore. Okay, or ask Marginal. He knows everything apparently. He was there. Fuck. Anyway, Rich picked up Aswell in June. Oh. Okay, look, he didn't seriously start playing him until recently. And Nay242 with the follow. Thanks, mate. You're great. 8 out of 8 with date weight. Or you clickbait. That's the shit Zubaz hates. He's also great, though. Alright, anyway. That's Aswell. Next up, I might like rearrange the rows as we go, but I'll just kind of take the characters that I can comment on and kind of go from there, right? So below Aswell, I think it's something in the realm of, it's gonna be, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna talk about these characters in a particular order, or I don't know which one is above the other, but I'm gonna talk about both of them. So here's my thing with Mina and Siegfried, right? I think that Mina and Siegfried are both actually really well designed characters. Truly. Truly. I actually think that. Um, here, my problem with, I'll do Mina first. The thing with Mina that bothers me a little bit is the disparity between playing against a Mina online I'm playing against Mina offline. Now, let me explain. Bandai Namco has stated, or Project Soul rather, has stated that they're looking to balance the game for both online and offline gameplay. That has been shown in some of the earlier patches, for example, nerfing Siegfried's 1B from, what was it, like 24, 26 frames to 30 frames? Like, hello? And stuff like that, right? And yet, playing against a Mina online, or with PS4 native input delay offline, it makes moves like her 6A just really frustrating to deal with. And it also makes dealing with her full crouch 1K Oki very 30 to 34. Thank you. Wow. Um, it makes dealing with her full crouch 1K Oki really, really stupid. And it's almost like a real mix. So I'm going to develop on that point further. Previously, like a couple weeks ago, if you asked me what I thought about Mina, I would say I think Mina's fine. I think that she's strong, but I think that when you're in her face, it's totally like you're able to do your thing, right? But the problem now, now that I've learned a little more about the matchup, and now that I've had lots of different Minas play against me, lots of different ways to play her, which is another point I'll get to, is her full crouch 1K is her close-up game. Her full crouch 1K, 9B, 2A, um, bu- 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 you have the U-jerk lethal hit, you have two different auto GIs. Like, she has the tools to actually combat you up close. It's just they weren't blatantly obvious to me because every Sungmin I play against just always tries to run away. But then I played against a couple who were quite good, and they were very comfortable playing up close. And that's when I started to learn a little more about her up close game. So that's a lot better than I gave it credit for. Now, the mid-range, going back to the mid-range point, 6A is I-20, completely impossible to react to. Well, see, that's the thing, right? So back to her mid-range game, and that leads me to my next point. Previously, my strategy was to walk in with 3 or 9 and kind of like duck on reaction to anything. Like, it didn't really matter what it was. I would just duck it, because if it's 1B, I'll step it or block it. If it's 6A, I'll duck it. If it's 6B, I'll step it. Things like that, right? The only exception to that rule is kind of 2-2B. 2-2B is such a rewarding launcher that some characters can't even punish at some ranges, and it resets the game in her favor, which is also crazy. But yeah, I think the existence of 6A lethal hitting on a sidestep is super unfair. I think that her full crouch 1K actually in itself being a mix-up with the follow-up, and on Oki, she can literally force block, literally, for something in the realm of like 20% guard crush. Um, it's ridiculous. Like, her combo carry is gross. Her critical edge is one of the only in the game that works the way it does, and it can basically carry you 3/4 of the way across some of the maps. Um, her ability to set up force block situations and absolutely trash your guard is unparalleled. Her up close game is fine. Like, it's fine. There's no real weakness there. I think 4-4A isn't that scary. I think 4-4A is a bit of a like beginner to intermediate level player killer. I don't think that it's all that effective at high level. Um, but she's just so complete and yet so simple as well. The depth of Mina comes from her combos are a little tricky to execute and her setups, but it also comes from the spacing. But if you can get that down, Mina is just super oppressive for some of the cast. And I play Xianghua, so like dealing with this character is super difficult. It's super difficult. It's also mixed with Wild Rising B. Exactly. Wild Rising B is also really dumb. I forgot about that move. And I think it's like what, 4-4B or 4-4. She has another one to kind of sauce in there, but 9B or whatever that kind of jumping crescent moon strike move is, that thing is safe, and it doesn't whiff. Like, it's safe on whiff. Like, it's plus on whiff. Like, it's just so stupid. She has a very complete kit, and it's so gross. For the record, Zubaz, I know the Siegfried matchup quite well, but let me adjust the list. I just put these two here first. They're not by themselves on S tier, for the record. For the record. So anyway, Mina's just super complete, super annoying. Even if you're a character with more range, I can't imagine it's any easier. I don't know for sure. But like playing Aswell into Mina is a little easier. Still not easy, but it's easier for me. I don't play Aswell in tournament though, but is what it is. Anywho, moving on. 4-4B while sending B ring out game. Yeah, exactly. You think X is Sieg's best matchup? Really? Well, it's a good thing that I know that matchup inside and out. And I go even with Pyro Zamfir, so fuck it. I'll take it. Who's a super good Siegfried, by the way. Full crouch 1K and 4B plus K. Yeah, 4B plus K, man, that auto GI, it feels so strong. It's great when it works and it's okay when it doesn't. Yeah, Pyro is awesome. I don't really have a problem with Mina's mid-range game, to be honest with you. Oh, right. I didn't finish that argument. So, what I have a problem with Zayden is Bandai themselves have stated they want to balance for online and offline play. I don't feel like Mina's 6A having a lethal hit is really fair for online versus offline play. Because if you look at Ivy's tools, let's look at her 6-6A hold as a comparison. There's so much time there for you to block. And if you're getting caught by the second hit and you're stepping, honestly, you're kind of just bad. Or you're playing in a 2-bar connection or some shit. Like, and that makes sense to me. Like Ivy's mid-range game makes total sense to me, and like it's fine. And yet Mina's 6A, it basically is like what Ivy's 6-6A hold wants to be. It's ridiculous to me. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I just don't feel like they balanced it around online and offline play properly when you look at some of the BS nerfs and buffs they did previously. So again, Siegfried's 1B is the absolute greatest example. You cannot fucking tell me that a large portion of the community was getting hit by 1B. I will not believe you. I think that is a lie. Yeah, I never get hit by Ivy 6-6A hold offline. Shit, I rarely get hit by it online in a decent connection. Anyway. Siegfried. Let's move on to Siegfried. Let's just move on. Siegfried, I think, is awesome. I actually love this character's design. I think he's super cool. I think that Siegfried gets super scary when you start over-respecting the risk-reward. Hey, Nady with the follow. What's up, dude? Thanks, mate. You're great. 8 out of 8 with date. Wait. You clickbait, bro? It's shit I hate. But at least you wear a hot dog. No, I know. I've seen you. You good. You good. And Angelic with the follow. Just kidding. Saw. It's relevant to compare it to that. It is relevant because if you look at the mid-range of those two characters and there's 6-6A on Ivy's part and 6A on Mina's part, they're there to function very similarly. And they're both super far-reaching. Anywho, Siegfried is super awesome, but I think that players get super scared of Siegfried when you start over-respecting the risk-reward. When you really look at Siegfried, now, forgive me, I don't remember the names of the stances, but when he's got the sword on the ground and he's going forwards, so like 6B plus K, right? 6B plus K, that stance, side reverse hold, I don't know. And he has the mid into combo and then the low kick into combo. That situation, I think a lot of players need to remind themselves and respect the reverse side hold. Thank you. A lot of players have to remember that both options are fully launch punishable on block. Like that is the most that is a fair risk reward mix up. I don't really have a problem with that at all. And if you're really that scared of it, just jump. Like if you're that scared of it, Just jump. Use like jump A or jump B, whatever your character has. Nah, base hold is where the sword's on the ground and he's auto GIing. So I think a lot of newer players and intermediate level players have a problem with Siegfried because they think that, oh, it's so strong his mix-up game. I'm like, nah, dude, it's fine. It's a fair mix-up. So that's the first issue. The second thing, or RE, exactly. The second thing that players talk about is the auto GI on base hold and the iframes on the spin when you go to the side. Now, admittedly, I kind of have a problem with this too, because now this is more from like Xianghua perspective. Xianghua's wall rising punishes are either I-12 or no. Yeah, I-12 or I-16, and they're both vertical. Now, if Siegfried does something that's minus, I forget the numbers, but if he does something that I can punish with wall rising B, that he can transition into the sidestep GI or iframes, I'll miss. And it's like, so you're punishing me for guessing correct, or you're punishing me for being correct. Okay. It just doesn't really make sense to me. And it seems kind of unfair. Now, at the same time, my wall rising K will hit him even if he does go to sidestep. Or my wall rising A will hit him, but if he went into base hold, my wall rising A would get punished. Which leaves me with 2K. Problem with 2K is it's sometimes too slow to punish. And let's be honest, even on hit, 2K isn't exactly a favorable situation for your character. So I think that, now I could be wrong, but I think that Siegfried's strength of his base hold versus his vertical iframe thing on a block punish situation from a crouching state, or shit, even from a standing state, I think that the strength of that changes from matchup to matchup. Now, if someone wants to clarify that with me, that's what it feels like to me. It feels like some characters are going to have a much better time dealing with those stances than other characters. Now, I don't have a problem with it. It's just annoying. um, vertical I-12 or faster. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I have an I-12 vertical. So like 4B, right? It's a great option against Siegfried when he's able to stance like that. Now when he base hold is probably the most annoying one, but it's kind of like if you have I-12 verticals, you should just be using those to punish a Siegfried. Or if you have like slower horizontals, those are also a good option. The reason why is because it only auto GIs until Siegfried starts to do anything else. Now the shoulder bash is quite quick, but you can still stuff it. And if he does go into base hold and you have identified that he's going into base hold, you can just step it and full punish. If he goes for the sidestep and you wait, and this is kind of leads into my point. If you wait, you're able to get free punish as well. So arguably, you can kind of let Siegfried hang himself if he's one of those stance dancing Siegfrieds, right? If he's just doing shit and you're blocking it, and he's just like, yeah, let me play Maxi but better kind of thing. You can just kind of let Siegfried hang himself, and it's not that scary. It starts getting scary when you play characters who can't really handle his neutral game. Now, so to finish that last statement, I think that Siegfried's stancing game, I think it's fine. I don't have a problem with his stance game whatsoever, for the record. It just takes a little bit of labbing, a little bit of practice, and it's not so bad. Now, his neutral game is, depending on the matchup, really scary. Again, from my perspective as a Xianghua, 3A4 is so stupid. It's so stupid. Why? It's just a game. Why you make it? Like, it's so stupid. Because it pushes me out when I block it. It's incredibly hard to reactively GI or AGI. I've tried. It's a horror mid, and it literally beats I can't even PXS under it. Other than the very first couple frames of PXS, which is so silly. Now, for the record, I shouldn't be able to tech duck under mids, but clearly it's designed that way, so whatever, I'll take it. It's just crazy to me. his neutral game is so scary if you're a short range character. Dark Legacy is Dark Legacy is again just more annoying than overpowered. Um, like for the record, I know this matchup super duper well, and I still think the character is strong, but I do not think the character is broken. I think he's fine. He has like no real lethal hits outside of Dark Legacy anyway. So whatever. I don't really care. It is what it is. So anyway, I think Siegfried is strong, but I don't think that he's broken. I think Mina could use some adjustments, buffs and nerfs alike, and I think that Aswell could use some nerfs. All right, cool. Yeah, it's annoying to get Siegfried low only to have him kind of delete you. Okay. So we're gonna add a couple more characters in this list. Like I said, I don't think these characters are on their own tier. I think there's more characters that are on the same level for different reasons entirely as these characters. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, maybe. That doesn't play Seek. Does it ever say that? What? That he's fine? I think he's fine. Or do you mean Cheetos? So anyway, so to round out the rest of my S tier here, I think that Mitsu, Zaz, and Ivy are also in their own way really scary. So Mitsurugi, quite simply, it's very easy to actually talk about Rugi. I spent a long time on those first 3 characters. The rest are going to be a little easier. Rugi just has insane neutral and footsies. Like, you can play him lame, and you can play him slow, and you can really just win in a very basic fashion. His frame data is a little iffy, so you have to be careful with your swings. But where Rugi gets his strength from is not only his neutral, but also the fact that it's very scary to low block a Rugi because he has a very similar threat as Aswell, right? Both having a 3B lethal hit. And in Rugi's case, he could go 1BB for just a huge chunk of damage if he wanted to try to open you up, and he felt like you weren't going to block it. Now, granted, and this is a win for me, if you have a crouch throw that's I-10, which I think they all are, I could be wrong, I can actually crouch throw him on hit as Xianghua, which is hilarious. But hey, it's a thing. So it's not that scary for me. But I can imagine if you didn't have a crouch throw, that shit's probably really scary. They're I-12. Weak. Trash. Yeah, his neutral's really good. His soul charge is crazy. He pops soul charge, and like again, like Siegfried, it's a fair mix-up situation. Like he risks his life to go for 1k BB. He really does. But his critical edge is like a buffed up version of Xianghua's. Now, granted, Xianghua, she can combo into hers from like 1,000 different moves. We'll get to her. And Rugi has a little bit of a harder time comboing into his critical edge. But as a whiff punish, like his punish game is mad good. But as a whiff punish, dude, he's just gonna hit the delete button real quick. Like Thunder Strike, gone. Bye. Can't stand. Fuck. Like Rugi is awesome. I think this character is super underrepresented. Like I don't know why there's not more Mitsurugi players. I really don't. Maybe it's that players don't know how to play footsies. That's probably what it is. Maybe it's that players don't like the risk reward. I don't know. This character is just really strong. He's just fundamentally sound. I have no complaints. I just think he's really scary. Tier lists are dumb. They are dumb, but they're a good place for discussion. What's up, Florida? And yeah, the EU, yeah, in NA, he's underrepresented. So that's Ruki. I think he's just fundamentally sound. Great punish game. I-12 CE is super awesome. Um, yeah, he doesn't really have like sustained pressure, and that's why I don't think he's. I think he's fine. He can't press the advantage. He doesn't have great frame data. So, you know, it is what it is. Zas, Zas is funny. You're gonna hear me go through this list, and I'm gonna be like, I don't think this character is that good. But I have to remember that I'm playing a character. I'm playing a character who has the tools to counter everybody in the game. Zas against Xianghua is so bad for Zas. It's not even funny. If you don't know how to beat Zas, hit me up because I will tell you how to destroy this character from the inside out. Uh, but if I wasn't playing Xianghua, yeah, but he can't like sit there and keep retaking his turn. He's very much like a you have to play footsies with Rugi. You just have to. So for Zas, he can kind of stand there. I have always said this, even like way back when the game came out. I always felt like Zas, he was kind of just like a turret, right? You would just sit there and you wouldn't have to move much because his sidestep is ass. It's so bad. And you kind of just control the game by existing. And that's what makes Zas so scary, especially in a competitive environment when like conditioning and mind games and like a first to two or first to three environment is what you're risking. Zas is really scary. Some of the best buttons in the game. His mids outside of 3A are little whack. His lows, little whack. 1B with a curse, you might have a reason to be afraid. But 1B curseless, it's kind of a joke. His combo damage is like in general, Zas doesn't really do. He doesn't have like scary lows. He doesn't have scary combo damage. He doesn't have a lot. But when he starts getting curses on you, when he starts applying his frame pressure, when he starts applying his guard gauge, risking reverse ring outs, like Zas, to kind of word it, to summarize it, I think Zas has a lot of really obscure strengths that you don't really think about unless you're talking about Zas, right? Like the ability to control screen positioning. His CE is like a really weird mind game pressure tool. Like as soon as Zas has a bar, all of a sudden you're keeping your opponent in check by existing. Reverse ring out, forward ring out, kind of. Um, like the curse mechanic to keep in mind. He's just really obscure to deal with, um, which is interesting. Which is interesting. Moving against Zas is tricky. Um, And in general, you kind of just have to take it or you have to make a guess. Here's the kicker. If you guys are still going on about Rugi's pressure, I'm sorry. I think you're just losing to Rugis who don't understand, or maybe you don't know the matchup. Rugi cannot keep a maintained offense. For the record. Okay, don't at me. And Zas can keep running the train unless you make the read like the duck or the sidestep, or you like GI. Um, The thing with Zas is that he kind of has to commit. He just has to just go, right? That is the one thing with Zas is like if he could do things safer or if he could play in a safe way, holy shit, he would be like busted. But what I mean by committing is that he generally, like a Zas, generally you want to finish the strings, or it's either like a steppable vertical or a high horizontal. Um, or if he goes for like his lows, they're pretty unsafe. Or his CE, if he's wrong, he's just standing there like Nani. Stuff like that. That's what I mean by he has to kind of commit. He really just can't play in a no risk way. And if he is, he's really not accomplishing anything. Where he didn't move? Yeah, that's what I said. His movement's garbage. That doesn't prove anything. Anyway, no. Asta, Nightmare, and Sig will all be minus even on their individual pokes. Or they won't accomplish anything, which is what I just said. So anyway. Zaz, you really want to be cycling your frames, or you want to be applying that pressure or the guard pressure, because his damage isn't that scary if he actually hits you. So Zaz has to win the game somehow. And in general, that means either committing to his strings, committing to his CE, um, or just applying a lot of pressure, or making the correct guesses. Things like that. That's Zaz. Ivy, um, Ivy is interesting. She's very jarring for some characters and not so bad for others. A lot of people will talk about her CS. You disagree so hard. I mean, that's nice. A lot of people talk about her throws. A lot of people talk about her Christmas tree. Um, and yeah, you know what? Those are strong facets of the character. And same with her movement. But the thing with Ivy is her frame data is kind of it's iffy. It's not really all that great. And some of her best moves are like really launch punishable if you make the right guess or if she's wrong. Like ICS or CS in general and Summon Suffering are super scary, but my argument to Ivy, and this is I've always said this, if you were to take away her throws, right? Let's just imagine a world where that wasn't a threat, okay? If you took away her throws, what would you really be left with? What would you really be scared with in an Oki situation, you know, from Ivy? 22K, don't even say 22K, because 22K is launch punishable if you've got a crouching launcher. It is somewhat reactable offline if you're mentally looking for it. And her 3B doesn't lead to anything aside from another Oki situation. My point is, if you are able to somewhat break CS, because I know there's this huge debate about how it's not breakable because PS4 input delay. Yeah, fuck off. Just accept it, okay? Stop complaining about it. If you can break it sometimes, and if you can attempt to duck Summon Suffering sometimes, you're kind of in the green. You're kind of in the green, I think. I played against a lot of Ivies of varying skills and varying styles. Some just try to spam throw, some just try to zone, some just look to soul charge every chance they get bar. Some try to force like the crouching and full crouch game and all that shit. And what I've come to learn is a good Ivy is someone who can incorporate all of those to some facet or another. But the one thing that's underlying of all is the simple mental pressure of the throws. Okay? The simple mental pressure of the throws is enough to kind of keep you in check, right? It's enough to prevent you just from mindlessly running in, enough to not just constantly stand block against an Oki situation, right? So I think Ivy is actually fine. I just wish that I wish that they would somehow normalize the break window or like the breakability of CS. I think that it being as janky, like I've seen the videos, I've heard the discussions. I think it's really dumb that you can sit there in training mode and continue to hit break at the same pace, like or as best as you can. Just sit there mashing it, tap 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 tap, and you'll get it most of the time. I think that's just a little silly. I think they need to do something about that. But outside of that, yeah, exactly, Angelic. It's just her conditioning. Like, it's just the mental pressure that Ivy provides that makes her so scary, in my opinion. But if you've got good neutral, you'll be able to beat her mid-range no problem. And if you keep the throws in the back of your mind, and you're able to break it here and there, now it's gonna hit you. Like, just accept it. It's going to hit you sometimes. Or you duck it when you feel it coming, you're good. Trust me when I say this. If you can duck an Ivy who whipped out a CS and they felt like they were confident, like, man, there's no way he's going to know that this is coming. Trust me when I say they're going to feel a little less or more reluctant to actually use it. So that's the kicker. It's the same with As Well Axe Low. If you like, if you can jump it or like block it into launch punish into Oki where he's unequipped, like if you can block moves like that or duck throws like Ivy's, the player will feel a little less inclined to use those moves, just a little bit. And especially in a first to two environment, they're not going to really want to take that risk again. Right? To some degree, anyway. Now, this isn't always going to be the case, obviously. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, I've played Oof. He's solid enough. I think that probably wraps it up for my S tier. So yeah, in the next tier, da da da, da 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 da. Oh, I guess we're discussing the order of it, huh? Yeah, I think I like the order of it actually. Anyway, so my A tier. I don't. Again, until I'm proven otherwise, I don't think Amy is in S tier. Okay, for the record, I don't think she's in S tier. I am not yet convinced that she deserves to be on the same tier as those other 5 characters. I'm not convinced because when I play against Amy as a close range character, so like let's keep this in mind. She doesn't have to worry about approaching me. She doesn't have to worry about like me backstepping her. She doesn't have to worry about like any of that, right? When I play against Amy's, good or bad, I've never been like, man, this character's insane. No. Whereas I have felt that way about the 6 above her. Yes, I've played against CJ. Yes, I've played against Triple J. Yes, I've played against Fire Necromancer. I've played against those guys. I don't have a good connection with Sandman, or I would play against him too. And I never feel like it's the character. It's like they're just a good player, right? Or it's like, man, they're just, you know, they're just out framing me, or they're out footseeing me, right? Which is fine. That's just a player thing. That's not an Amy thing, right? I never feel like Amy is that scary because here's the thing. You can OS her high and low parries very easily. Very easily, at least on block and sometimes on hit. And now her mid parry, you can probably assume that they're just going to go for the A series. AB or AK. Probably. And the reason why you can assume that is because the B option out of mid parry and the K option out of mid parry are both like meh. They're average at best. At best. So what that leaves you with is an opportunity to GI there. It leaves you with the opportunity to step the unblockable or GI the AK. It's a tight window, but and I think that, I mean, yes, of course, Xianghua has a good matchup against Amy. I agree with you. However, and underrated, I think people are overrating her. A lot of times I've seen around like Amy top 5, Amy S tier, Amy this. I'm like, I'm not sold yet. I am not convinced yet. I've never been like, man, this character. Because here's the thing. Some people will discuss her 4A and 1B, right? They're going to talk about her lows. Well, here's my rebuttal to that argument. Especially 1B. This is so true for 1B. 1B, you can lab it and test it for yourself. If you play outside of throw range, or her throw range rather, she cannot hit you with 1B. So that's not a threat. Plus, there's the fact that she basically has to be standing on your toes for it, or it's also steppable. So if you play outside of throw range, her 3A all of a sudden can whiff, her 1B can whiff, her 4A can whiff, and she kind of has to keep moving up closer to you. So you're good. Now, she totally has some good matchups. I think she has some matchups where she dominates. But I also think that she has some matchups where she's dominated. Plus, I will also like to say that Amy without Red Rose preparation is just kind of a joke. I don't think she's that good. So, because of this, And again, I play a short range character, and even when I'm not getting any crouch throws against her from AMS transitions, I'm still jockeying for position, and I don't feel like I'm losing. I have played against good Amy's who don't get Red Rose Prep until like the 4th round, or like maybe the 3rd round where it's 2-1, right? So I have now essentially, like in theory, I've now gone up 2-0 against the Amy, and she still doesn't even have Red Rose Prep. Like, that is such a bad situation for Amy players to be in. No Red Rose Prep by the time they're on, match point. Yikes. Like, that's really... Now, the argument is, oh, she has so many ways to get Red Roses, Zedd. Okay, yeah, sure. But if you lab them and figure out what they are, you can just avoid those certain scenarios. It's literally play neutral with Amy. You'll be fine. Like, I I have not bought into the Amy hype train yet, and I don't think I will until I'm shown by an Amy player myself that she is able to get Red Rose Prep within 2 rounds consistently against me, and I cannot out neutral her, and I am also a short range character. I can only imagine if I played a character with a little more range. I don't think I'd have a problem with this character at all, personally. That's Amy. Next on the A tier, but I do think she's strong, for the record. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying she's a bad character. All right, let's just be clear on that. All right. The next character on this tier, I think, I might rearrange the list a little bit. But I think let's put... We're going to put Waldo here. So Waldo is actually a pretty good character. I don't know why... Like, I don't know what it is about NA. Other than maybe like 1 or 2 players. They have no idea that Waldo actually has a neutral game. And it's hilarious because he has some mad good buttons. I was relabbing him the other day. I think it's like back turn 6AB. Jesus, that move is so good for pressure. Or like 2B and 2B hold and 2BB hold and 2BB. 4-4A, 2-2A, 1-1K I think it is. It's like a really far-reaching low kick. 6-6, no, sorry. Yeah, 6-6B, because you can go 6-6B hold or 6-6B hold. Or, I just said it twice. 6-6B or held or 6-6BB held, and it puts it like it changes the dynamic. He's literally, oh, that's just his 1K, thank you. Like Waldo's a good character. Like, and yet every fucking Waldo in North America, other than maybe 2 or 3 of them, have no like, oh, let me just go into Mantis real quick. Yeah, no, no, and then they complain about the character like he's bad. Yeah, exactly. You could list so many good neutral buttons. Granted, he's a little slow. Okay, he's a little slow, just a hair. Like if I remember correctly, he doesn't actually have an I-12 from front facing. So he's a hair slow, but that doesn't stop him. That doesn't stop his neutral game from being pretty solid. Like, you could play Waldo quite lame, as complicated as the character is, and be just fine. Oh, is it I-12? Okay, yeah, I could be wrong. Maybe it's like his AA is I-14 or something. Anyway, I think his character is really good. I think players are just playing him wrong. Mantis is good in its own respect, but you can't make Mantis your game plan against a good opponent, or in some matchups I'm sure it's awful. Like against Xianghua in some situations, I can crouch throw him all the time, and that's great for me, but I'm sure other characters have other super good options. Oh, it's a standard 2A. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so anyway, Waldo's just really good. He has 7 total stances, because you have front facing, then you have blind stance, you have Mantis head towards, Mantis feet towards, you have the Calistro, or whatever it is, 236, and then you have reverse 236, and then you have the soul charge specific, like fish stance or whatever it's called. I don't remember the name of that one. Crazy fish or something? I don't know. Yeah, so he has a lot that you have to learn and a lot to keep in mind, but even at a fundamental basic game plan, landfish, that's the one. Even at a fundamental game plan, you can just play neutral and you'll be fine. Waldo's a pretty good character. His CE, it's a horizontal, so that's pretty unique. And when he's back facing, it's the fastest horizontal CE in the game, so it's super good. It's very good. His soul charge, yeah, his soul charge is okay. I think it's fine. What I think is really cool about his soul charge. Now, I don't know if Voldo players like this or not, because this is more from an outside Voldo player perspective. I think the fact that it changes what stance he's facing, I think that's really cool. Because if you're front facing and you soul charge, all of a sudden you have free back stance pressure or blind stance pressure. And I think that is super cool, personally. So, no, Voldo's a really good character. I think players underrate him. Or, I think Voldo players, rather, are just playing him completely wrong. Let me see. Next on this list, it's probably going to be... Yeah, I think I'm going to have to reorganize the order a little bit. Let's put Talum here. So Talum is a really annoying character to deal with. With a bit of labbing, you can definitely learn how to handle her pressure. But just in general, she kind of forces, she forces a lot of mental and actual pressure on you, and her guard damage can also be quite scary if you're not doing it correctly. The thing with Talum that I think makes her so strong, though, is the ability to just keep going and making the reads constantly. Because even if you know the matchup really well, she is going to get you. She's going to get you eventually. She's going to put you in a situation, and just kind of keep cycling it. Her CE is super good. Her soul charge is super good. Her reverse edge canceling, even though it takes her guard gauge, is still a really good tool. Granted, they can't spam it like they used to, thank God. But it's just a really good tool. I think she's a really solid character. She deals some mighty fine damage, and she's got some good buttons. And the fact that her transitions can be plus 24 or plus 16, depending on the transition, is just whoa, scary. So, of the kind of more rushdown oriented characters in the game, I think she definitely does it the best. Comparing her, just to kind of explain what I mean by that, characters like Maxi, Yoshi, Taki, um, Talon, that kind of thing, right? Now, obviously, you don't have to play any of these characters rushdown, but it is what it is. Most of her soul charge can be GI'd. Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, I'm aware. But the damage she can get out of it is whoa. If she makes one hit, it's yikes. That was scary. Her 6-6B becoming a special, what is it? A special mid, I think, instead of a high. That's also really good. It's also really good. Scary. Scary. I think she's just a really solid character. I don't think she's B tier, because she has some jarring matchups, but I think she's got more matchups that are not necessarily in her favor, but she can make the hard call out and then get away with it, kind of thing. Or she can get away with murder, I think is maybe a good way to put it. Yeah, I think she's just a pretty good character. I wouldn't change anything about her. I think she's great the way she is. Next in this quadrant, we'll put Nightmare. Nightmare is one of those weird characters, right? I think he's probably him and maybe him and Grow maybe are the most debated on characters in terms of their tier. Maybe not Grow anymore, but not the point, not relevant. Nightmare is a character that is very snowbally in nature. Excuse me, sorry. He's very snowbally in nature. If he can keep getting Night Terror charge going over and over and over, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to handle. You can step some of the moves, and you can, of course, GI the sword throw move on the second hit, and you can play around it. But it's you have to be on your toes with Nightmare. There's no time for slacking when you're playing against a Nightmare. Stuffing him out of his transitions, you got to be ready. Reacting to his stances, you got to be ready. right? He very much forces you to kind of like, whoa, okay, like, all right, we're playing Soul Calibur, boys. Like, you got to be ready for Nightmare. But I think if you just take it easy, um, you'll be fine. Now, Nightmare is also another victim of having really terrorizing matchups, one way or the other. And I think this is why I'll never put Nightmare in S tier, because the thing with Nightmare is you look at matchups like Nightmare into Maxi or Nightmare against Sophie are the first two that come to mind. Nightmare against Sophie is so good for Sophie. It's gross. Like, it's disgusting. It's probably like, no, it's definitely bottom five matchups in the game. It's so bad because her 6, if you don't know, it's because her 6-6A can break through armor. Nightmare can't punish it, and the fact that she has uh, tech sidestep and tech ducking moves at the exact same time into full like combo is mad scary for him. It's really hard for him to deal with. Her 1K is a pretty good button, and that also stuffs his um, armor. Yeah, oh, sorry, yeah, and it also tech crouches. Yeah, so Nightmare just gets absolutely murdered by literally one move, amongst other Sophie tools, of course. But so that kind of matchup, really bad. Now, Maxi, on the other hand, Nightmare, oh, it's so bad for Maxi because Nightmare can bubble so much, and if not bubble, he can use the what is it, 6K, the punch, the 6K punch. It'll either beat out a lot of Maxi's stuff, or Maxi will swing into the revenge because a lot of Maxi's moves in stance don't break through armor, and especially if you use the faster armor option, whatever the fastest of it is, 6A, 6B, or 6K, I don't know. Make sure to put someone in D tier. There will be. Um, it's so bad for Maxi. It's so unfair. 6K, all right. It's so bad. It's not fair. So that's why I don't think Nightmare is S tier. He's a lot to handle, but you can definitely handle him. Like as Xianghua, I have decent tech crouches. My full crouch 3B breaks their armor. Heh, Kappa. Um, Other than that, I don't really have good OSs that other characters don't. Like you can 2A a lot of Grimstride stuff. If you have like an I-16 or faster vertical, you can beat out a lot of the Knight side stance one. Things like that, right? Things like that. A lot of it I just use, there are generic punishes. I do know the specifics, but most of the time it's nothing different than other characters. And I think he's fine. He's just a lot to handle, and you have to really watch your guard gauge for sure. All right, next up would be 2B. So 2B, so I played in, for those who don't know or weren't watching, I played in a tournament, an online tournament the other day, 2 days ago? 2 days ago. And I ended up playing against two pretty solid 2B players, Nova Mage and Hooligans. Of the two, Nova Mage ended up winning. Or, no. Yes. Yeah, Nova Mage ended up winning. And Hooligans got pretty far. All three of us got top 8. I ended up taking down Hooligans. My set with Nova Mage went super duper close, but he ended up beating me. And what I learned, having played two completely different styles of 2B, plus all the other 2Bs at my locals, is I think 2B has a lot of the strength kind of just kind of shoved into her stances, which is interesting, right? Because you might think, hearing me say that, you might immediately be looking to retaliate. But let me explain, okay? 2B in neutral, God, everything is minus 12 or 14. Now, if you're playing against a character who has an I-12 CE or one of the faster CEs in the game, you better not hit a button. Yeah, I play Calm Hostage at locals. Yeah. Yeah, I'm that guy. Oh, Zubaz puts the pieces together. The thing with 2B stances is there's actually a lot of metagame there, especially the backsway. Like the back sway is insane. It avoids so many moves, and then she can just come in again. She has options to beat reversal edge out of both AGS and aerial leap, and uh, she has like her reversal edge game is really strong, and yet it's one of her biggest weaknesses. And I think that was 100% intentional by the devs, and I applaud them for that decision because you want to be like, man, I could just reversal edge here, but you're like, man, what if I'm wrong? I'm fucked, right? Like that's why 2B is kind of scary. Is yeah, you could reversal edge her stances, but what if you're wrong, right? You're kind of screwed. You've been helping him beat me? Well, I don't know what you've been telling him, but I'm not sure how effective it is, homie. What have you been saying about me? um, Now, her neutral game, I'm going to come back to that. Her neutral game, yes, I have an I-12 CE. So 2B just really doesn't get to play neutral. But even if you had like a decent I-12 Punisher or I-14, like 2B's really got to watch herself. She's got a lot of spots where you can step. Her buttons are huge, but steppable or duckable. Her A series is shit. Her B series is shit. A lot of her transitions aren't real on block. Like only 6 BB and it's coming to me. 5 AAA are plus on block transitions. Um, yeah, just in general, I think her power is like overloaded into the stance, and I kind of wish that they would buff up her neutral. Honestly, just fix her frame data. Her frame data is like so bad. Fix the frame data a little bit outside of stances. Nerf a little bit of the stance stuff. Like maybe make the B option from stance like just a little bit slower, please. Like that would be lovely. I would love that. Like maybe 2 frames, even just 2 frames. I'd be happy. I don't know. I'm sure there's better changes out there. I don't play 2B. But yeah, I think 2B is good, but I think that she is heavily one-sided towards her stances. And that is the conclusion I make because Nova Mage played pretty much a stance exclusive 2B. Now here's the kicker. When I forced him into the neutral game, he was pretty lost. Like, not throwing shade. Like, this is just what happened, okay? He was pretty lost in the neutral game, and his immediate game plan was to soul charge and stance again. Now, granted, her soul charge is like, ZZ, or rather Zedd, 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 Zedd. Like, you don't get to play the game. But he would force himself into stances constantly. Now, Hooligans, on the other hand, he was actually trying to play some neutral with me, and he lost. And then when he started stancing, he started winning. Now, you could argue that that's on me, but I'm very familiar with that matchup, and I'm afraid to RB, I was going to say. I'm afraid to reversal edge 2B, and the reason why, partially, is because Xianghua's reversal game is kind of ass in round 1. But 2, I don't really want to take that risk. Like, 2B's reversal edge options are so strong that I don't want to always be risking my guard gauge or my health bar for it. So I think she's very shoved into her stances, and I think it would be healthy for her to have a little more well-rounded of a kit, considering how many tools and how many cool-looking moves, and like she's a really cool character, but it's just a little too stance heavy for me. I wish that she had a bit better neutral game. How to approach? Yeah, no, exactly. And the backsway, just to finish off the backsway, like you avoid so much stuff with that you're afraid to kind of use shorter range moves against her, and it's quite scary. His approach is getting better, but I'll say this, he still presses the attack a little too much. He's got to learn to chill a little bit. Just a little bit. All right, who else? Astaroth. Now, people are going to argue with me on this one, probably. However, we have seen very good Astaroth performance in tournament from the likes of um, sorry, names escape me. Rakudo. Rakudo is a very successful Astaroth player. Klob, of course, very successful Astaroth player. The couple tournaments he has been able to attend. I know that there's currently an Astaroth over in Asia who's just like dominating. I'm sure there's probably some in EU, like what, Saito, I think? Is he EU or NA? I could be wrong, forgive me. But I think there's one over in EU who's kind of making waves as well. The thing with Astaroth, and the reason why he'll never be higher than this placement, like he's on the lower end of A, and this is always the argument that people bring up, and I agree. If Astaroth is wrong, he's going to lose. If Astaroth doesn't get any grabs, he likely is getting no damage. And if Astaroth isn't landing any of his tech ducks, he's not getting any damage. Like Astaroth, he kind of lives and dies by the reads. He lives and dies by the reads. Honors? No, knowers? Oh, I can't even pronounce that. Astaroth's not grounded, very little is guaranteed. Yeah, exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make. Is he's very much like live and die by the read, live and die by the guess. Very much the traditional grappler in the traditional grappler fashion. Very weak pokes, relies more on heavy hitting launchers in the means of throws or even his 2-2B. Oh, okay. Thank you. So Astaroth is a really scary character, especially in set play. Like, oh man, if you were playing, if an Astaroth, oh man, if you were playing against Astaroth in grand finals and the Astaroth was on winner's side, oh, holy shit, you would be, wow, you would have to go through that mental gauntlet, dude. Like he might not crouch throw for the first full set while you reset, and then all of a sudden he's just crouch throwing. Like just that's a bad example, but you get my point, right? In a long set, Astaroth just gets scarier and scarier and scarier as he starts to condition you. So in pools in first to two, Astaroth kind of has to just commit to what he decides, and you as a defender, you just gotta roll with it, just own it, right? But then when it starts getting first to three or a reset, he starts to get a handle on the game. Other than that, though, he has great counter hits. His soul charge is quite good. He has fantastic tech crouches. In general, his kick buttons, his K buttons, are very strong. In general, right? Like Bull Rush is still considered a kick. So Bull Rush, which you can't auto GI. Let's talk about that. You can't auto GI Bull Rush with a lot of auto GIs in the game, which is super good. Like that is really an underrated feature. And as a Shanghua player with auto GIs, I can attest to that. It is like, man, if I could fucking 6A plus B Bull Rush, that matchup would be free, dude. I would not even complain. I'd be like, hallelujah. Super easy. Yeah, right. Not that easy, unfortunately. So yeah, those are just some of his strengths. His range is good. His throws are almost always going to be a command throw. So you're always in a -8 situation when you break a throw. You can just assume that it's not your turn when you break a throw against Asta, because he has no reason not to use the command throws. Unless he's bad. But, you know. Anyway, that's Astaroth. Super scary character. Lives and dies by the reads. And then, let's see. Like I said, I might rearrange the list a little bit here. Jerry's pretty good. I mean, really, what do you say? He's just solid. He's solid. He has solid buttons. His frame data, it could use some work. Like, it's not the greatest, but he doesn't need it. He has super good range on his AA and BB. His 3A is both an approach tool and a horizontal mid, much like Sophie's 6-6A, so that's really good. His lows are kind of but they serve a niche purpose usually. Like, for example, 1B is a pretty solid Oki tool. Or his 1K is just a super fast, annoying poke. His 2A has some solid range. His Silver Sword attacks. So I think that a lot of players forget about Silver Sword. So Silver Sword attacks mean that you're a little afraid to pop Soul Charge against a good Geralt who's going to take full advantage of moves like 4A, 4-4A, 4 Behold, like moves like that. All of a sudden, things are becoming a little more scary when you're playing against Geralt, especially 4A. 4A is super good. It's so good. He has an I-10. Granted, he has to spend meter for it, but he has it. He of course has the parry, so you have to keep that in mind. It's a little bit like Zas. It's a little bit like Zas CE in that respect, but just not as scary, obviously. His lethal hits are kind of meh. His keep out game is pretty solid. His neutral game is where his real strength lies. I think that Geralt, I think people put him, I mean, I might move him to B, but I think that, I don't know. I think that he's underrepresented. But here's my thing with Geralt. And actually, you know what? No, I will actually move him to B because here's my thing with Geralt. I think Mitsurugi just does it better. Honestly. I think Mitsurugi is just a little bit of a better version of Geralt. Not bad lethal hits. Oh, yeah, yeah, I was just getting to all that. Yeah, I don't have a problem with his mids. That's not... Yeah, I don't know if I would say that that's terribly bad. What's up, Enders? And Toki. Hey, guys. I think that Rugi is just a little bit of a better version of Geralt, or if you want, if you really want to take it, as well is a better version of Geralt, right? Like, let's be honest. So, I think that I don't think Geralt's a bad character at all. I don't think he's a bad character at all. I think he just is a little bit outclassed. I think he's a little outclassed. His Oki's not bad, like 1B and 3B and other buttons. And he has got some stuff, right? Like, you know, you look at Linkhorst, right? Fantastic. Well, kind of the only example, really. He shows us that Geralt is a fantastic character, right? He's simple. He's easy, right? Oh, 6B. Oh, I forgot about 6B. 6B is like, whoa, 6B is so good. That's a mid. So anywho, Geralt's a really solid character, and like based on my list here, B, like AB is the mid tier. I think he's a solid. You know, let's actually. I don't like this. I don't like this. Let's do this. Let's update this. There we go. I feel better about this. Hey, Toki. Julie. This, yeah, I like this better. I feel better about this. I'm not upset by this list anymore. Because I think A minus are like solid core. Like most of the cast will sit in these tiers. All right. Um, duh, 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 duh. Hey, NY King Bluey, thank you so much. Welcome, friend. Thank you for the follow. I think that's it for A. I'm just looking at who we have left here. I kind of know where I want the rest to, or most of them to go, but I'm kind of iffy on a few here. Yeah, no, I think I'm happy with the A tier. Definitely. I think I'm happy with that, the way who's in it anyway. Now, in terms of the order, I think it could go something like probably that. Is there a new balance patch? No. No, I just haven't updated it in a while, and I've got some new opinions over the last couple weeks. I'm just going from scratch here. The order isn't as important as who's there, but I'm trying to order it. I'm trying to order it as best I can. All right. Anyway, let's move on to A minus. I might tweak it, but let's move on. So Geralt, I think, really solid character. No complaints. Well, that's not true. I have complaints, but hey, I don't play the character, so I can't complain. Let's. Yep. Yep. All right. And yep. So, Ref is a character that I think is also, much like Geralt, just really solid. right? Overall, very solid. Fantastic whiff punishing and punish game in general, right? Having an I-10 or yeah, having an I-10. Duh, brain. Yeah, I was like, wait, does he have an I-10? Yeah, he does. I-10, his CE is very far-reaching, but then he's got 4-6 ABK, right? Those moves are all all lethal hits, right? Depending on the situation. His stance game, I feel, isn't that scary though. I think that Raph can just kind of run the show if you don't start disrespecting his stance a little bit. Now, the thing is, you can't use highs. That's kind of the gimmick there. So you're relegated more to mids and lows. Most characters have tools to deal with Raph stancing. Now, assuming he's not leaning back right in front of you, or assuming he's leaning back at a decent range, you can usually step 2G a lot of it. Or if you know that he's too far, if you know he's too far to hit you with the lean back, I think Shadow Evade that's called, K, then all of a sudden you don't have to worry about a low, at least from Shadow Evade. His low option from Prep is also quite telegraphed. It's a very unique animation, so you can learn to just look for it. And a lot of the finishers to get out of Prep are also GI-able. So I'm sorry, I don't know the notation, but essentially when he's using, AB, because a lot of refs love to do that shit. You can duck the AA, I think. No. What is it? One of them you can duck, AB or AA, I forget. And then when he goes to finish it with the multiple stabs, then you can GI there. Or if he does the low, it's not really that scary. Like the A into low, it's not that scary. So preparation isn't that scary. The cool thing with Raph that you have to be careful about, duck AB, GIAA, yeah, that's what it is. Thank you. What you have to be careful about with Raph is that he can all of a sudden develop a combo off of a counter hit, and usually it's like a frame-based combo. So I don't know the specifics, but he can generate like plus situations because of a stun in a way that he can combo you without even leaving the ground, much like Maxi, except Maxi's you can tell he's built that way, whereas Raph, he almost gets combos because of frame data, which is really weird to think about, right? But it's what makes him kind of a somewhat high execution character compared to most of the characters in the game. Or doing like instant prep where it's 6B 4-6, right? Stuff like that. Just little minute things to optimize with Raph, I think is really cool. It's really good. Prep is bad, but you wouldn't put him that low. No way. I don't know. I think Raph. I don't think he's. I think he's solid. I think I put him in the same boat as Geralt. Like solid characters, solid neutral, fantastic punish game on Raph's part. But I think Raph's risk reward for his pressure is skewed in the favor of the opponent. Because I could sit there and stand block Raph all day. What is Raph gonna do? Nothing. Like, Raph's not gonna do shit if I stand block him all day when he's using prep, right? And I just look for prep K. There's absolutely nothing he can do. He doesn't have a grab out of prep. If he did, then I might be a little more scared, right? Just stuff like that. So his offense just isn't really there. But his neutral is great and his punish game is great. Anyway, Grow. His neutral's okay, I guess. But his punish game is great. Therefore, his neutral is decent. Too high execution for tournaments? I mean, that... No. If a player wants to commit to that kind of execution, they'll do it. I mean, look at Talkie players, right? There's tournament Talkie players, right? So... Grow is just, again, like, we're kind of... The A- tier is like the really well-designed characters where you can't really sit there and go, man, that's bullshit. You can't really sit here and complain about the A- tier. Otherwise, you're probably just coming up with excuses at that point. And that's the trend you'll see with the A- tier in general. It's like you look at anyone in the S plus to A tier, you can probably complain about something, and there's probably some merit to your argument. But A-, it's like, hey man, you just got schooled. Accept it. Grow is really solid, very basic character to learn. Tiny moves list. Avenger stance is all right. It has its own mental game there, and in a standing situation, it can be a problem. In an Oki situation, Grow is he's kind of ass. I think Grow's Oki isn't anything special. Um, Especially with Crybaby, I think his Oki's kind of silly. There's nothing he can do. It's hilarious. His soul charge, his soul charge is. Look, I may be in the minority. I think people overrate his soul charge a lot. 1AK is reactable, don't at me, and then launch punishable. So there's that. Offline, now granted, online his soul charge is like, what the fuck? That's not fair. Offline though, with a little bit of practice, you can learn to step 2G all the options, at least on block, and you can kind of get familiar with the situation. Now, one metagame you'll see Grows try to do is they'll like raw teleport, right? But that's why I never recommend swinging in response to a teleport. Because if you're wrong, you're dead. Which is why it's best to just step 2G, and then if he doesn't do anything, just continue step 2G, step 2G, step 2G, and you'll be okay. His 2A plus B is faster, but it's still super obvious. You should just be jump blocking or jump attacking that. Now, granted, that's something I need to work on too. I tend to block it a lot, and I know that that's a free jump, so I should be jumping it too. I'm no exception to the rule. um, his approach game is mad good. However, he has to be careful on some of it because some of it's like high or some of it's punishable. His lethal hits are really strong as they're what's the word? The conditions and the requirements to meet his lethal hits are so easy. Like, oh, on counter hit. Ooh, tough, right? Super good lethal hits. Very consistent, easy to use lethal hits. Make him kind of scary to do anything and make a mistake. So, Grow, really good character, a really solid character. Hashtag buff Grow. Next up here, let's put... Oh, I didn't put Cassandra yet. Shit. Right. I forgot. Cassandra... I would put Cassandra behind Astaroth for now. For now. So Cassandra, I think, is a good character. Her frame data is mad good. Her damage can be super good with Divine Force, even without it, actually. But and her approach is pretty good too. Where I think she struggles a little bit is she struggles against someone who's aware of her strings and the GI spots. Like Xianghua, she kind of has to play a very basic. You kind of have to play a little bit of a boring game at first, or like very single tap oriented, right? Just like 6B, nothing. 5B, nothing. Like 3A, no K, right? Stuff like that. You have to just kind of take it easy and play very poke based with Cassandra, and that can lead to its own problems. That that can lead to its own problems. So I think she's good though. We're still learning. I'm still learning. So she's gonna be the one character that could change up or down. Like I'm totally open to discussion for Cassandra, but I think right now I think she's A. And the weaknesses that are present for me is I I think using up your own guard gauge on some of her better moves, like the 214 attacks or whatever it is, that's pretty scary. It's pretty scary, especially when Aswell is and Siegfried and Nightmare are as popular as they are. eating your own guard gauge is a pretty scary thing. That's why you don't really see Talams use reversal edge cancel anymore. It's a scary thing. Now, I know she gets 10% back with Divine Force usage, but you don't just throw it out. And assuming you never get a launcher, you're not just going to use, like, you're not just going to waste it. Or you shouldn't waste it, rather. So, I don't know. I think she's good, though. I think she's a lot of fun to play, too. She's hilarious and good. But I put her behind Astaroth for now. For now. But I'm open to discussion on Cassandra. All right. Next in the A minus, Shanghua. Shanghua. She's too vertical. Yes, I agree. She has decent horizontals, but her best buttons and her real frame pressure comes from verticals. Yeah, exactly. So Shanghua, I don't really know much about this character, but Shanghua seems solid. No, no. Shanghua has a lot of problems, right? However, I think she facilitates the. I think that in order to be really good with Shanghua, you have to be a master of the game. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. Raf is similar, okay, for the record. She's not the only one, but in order to really see Shanghua come to fruition, you have to understand where to use and when to use every single move and why. Or in the case of her strings, your main, mine too. In the case of her strings and stuff, you have to know: have I conditioned the opponent enough? Am I able to go for 4BA? Am I able to use 6BB? Am I able to use, like, what can I do off of AA, right? Or are they just gonna recognize the fact that I'm -10 or go into stance and you can 2A? Or are they gonna eat the AAB? Are they gonna block the AAA? Are they going to block my full crouch 3A? And then what do I do? Like, she has a lot of extensions and a lot of options, but it's a matter of knowing when and why. But then you can get into her auto GIs. That shuts down some characters entirely. It truly, I won't get into it in this discussion, but the best example is Maxi. She deletes Maxi, for the record. I-12 Super, 1,000 launchers. The good ones are all safe, like Full Cars 3B, 22B, safe. Wall Rising B is a super good move. I think Shanghuas don't use it enough. It's a very far-reaching I-16 move that's -2 on block, and it does approximately 15% guard damage. It's gross. It's gross. Super good. She has a crouch throw, unique. But in general, I personally feel like you can just kind of walk into a game with your own game plan and just roll with it. But Shanghua, you can't really go in with Shanghua with a game plan. You kind of have to feel what the opponent's game plan is and respond accordingly. And I think that that is reflected in her toolkit. A lot of like tech jump, tech duck, sidestep, counter hits, reversal, or GIs. What she lacks in is approach tools that are decent outside of 6-6A. She has no fast mid horizontal, with some of the better ones being 4-4A, 4A, and 3K. But 3K is kind of a joke. It's not good. Yeah, she just has the tools to adapt to any situation. And that's what I think it makes her. If you're playing Shanghua below that level, or you don't have a deep understanding of all the matchups you're going against, or most of rather, I think you're going to struggle. She really forces you to play actual Soul Calibur, and you have to just roll with it. You have to have a good defense. You have to know when to take your turn. And you just have to know a lot of stuff to take full advantage of Shanghua's kit. And I just, like, I don't want that to sound like a bias, because I do think it's actually true. Because I look at Shanghuas who don't know other matchups, and they're doing really stupid shit against them, or they're the opponent themselves doesn't know what the Xianghua is doing, and it's free. Like, but you look at Zeph, you look at Shenwan, you look at myself, you look at MT Fighter or Rao. What all of us have in common is you'll see, maybe not Seth. Seth has his own style and is very effective. So maybe not Seth, but the other ones of us, we kind of have to tweak what we're doing depending on the matchup. Now, obviously, you're going to do that anyway, but you look at like 2B, right? Same game plan against most characters. Talum, same game plan against most characters. Zah, same game plan against most characters. Amy, Songmina, Mitsurugi, like it doesn't matter. They're going to play the same way against most or all of the cast, right? Whereas, yeah, exactly. X really does require big brain. She, honest to God, requires big brain, simply because of her vast toolkit, but also she does lack poke damage. Her lethal hits are quite like outside of the auto GIs. They're really finicky to get. Right, they require heavy reads and conditioning, so she doesn't really have access to those heavy, beefy hits that you get from lethal hits with other characters. And Razgur's with the follow. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So you really have to take your damage where you can, take your whiff punishes where you can, CE where you can. Like you have to just take what you can get with Xianghua is the best way to put it. Map placement is big too. Right, that's true. So she has a lot of options for ring out and wall game, both forward and reverse, plus the ability to land the backwards crouch throw into flip over kickback also can lead to wall combo. So she does actually have to play some footsies and gain map control. Whereas a lot of the cast, it's like, whatever. I don't really want my back to the wall or back to the ring edge, so let's just swap sides. Or sometimes they'll have a back throw that rings out like Ivy or Nightmare, right? Whereas we don't. We don't have a throw that does that. We have 6B. So now Xianghua is high IQ. She is on the lower end of the spectrum. I don't think she is super good, but I think that, honest to God, I think she takes a heck of a lot of thought and skill to play at a competitive level. Like with that caveat, at the competitive level, she takes a lot. Whereas a lot of other characters, you can kind of just be really good yourself, be a good player with a good game plan, and just kind of roll with it. Whereas Xianghua, you have to know what the hell the opponent's trying to do, and you have to adjust accordingly. And she has a lot of knowledge checks as well. So, the biggest weakness with Xianghua, though, the biggest weakness is she's very prone to getting backstepped. That is by far her biggest weakness. She doesn't really have a lot of range, and even her 6-6B and 6B options to catch backstep, sometimes those won't even reach, depending on the character's backstep. What makes the Ivy matchup so difficult? Christmas Tree is annoying, but at least we can run in. But what makes it so frustrating is that her backstep is so strong. So you can like 2-1-4, 2-1-4, or double tap 4-2, or like 2-4-2, or 4-2-4, any kind of movement strat like that, and literally evade everything a Xianghua can do. So in some matchups, Xianghua just has to constantly be running forward, and it's really frustrating because we're missing out on so many damage opportunities, and it sucks. Yes, exactly. You have to mix up your strings constantly. You can't just keep rolling with AA. Or however, at the highest level, what I think makes Xianghua so strong, specifically at the high level, is her frame data. Being impossible to punish is such a boon because it means we're allowed to use this vast toolkit. We're allowed to explore all these string options. And her risk reward is super low risk for low medium reward, but having something like that at the highest level is really beneficial. I promise you that. It really is. Justification for X sounds why people place Yoshi mid-low. Yes, but Yoshi also comes with his own problems. But we'll get to that. You're right, but Yoshi has even more problems that make him a problem. So that's Xianghua. And then lastly on this list, I will put, or on the A minus tier, rather, I'll put, yeah, Tera. Tera is heavily underexplored, underdeveloped. No, I retract that statement. She is explored, but she's underrepresented, and nobody knows what she actually does. She's kind of like Waldo. No one actually knows what she does. I have a Tera. I really do. She's like my third best character. And what I can say is Tera is a character that requires so much knowledge and skill in terms of hit confirming, knowing what route, knowing when your lethal hits are popped or how to pop them, knowing what you're at for coda, generating or knowing where to headbutt, hit confirming your combos, especially wall combos, because a lot of people, they kind of want to just dial up their combos. Whereas Tera, you have to sit there and you have to fucking wait. You have to wait to like do your shit with Tera. Tera, where she struggles the most is her jolly frame data. Her jolly frame data is kind of awful. Like, it's awful. Even if she does single tap, it's awful. And she doesn't really get any damage in Jolly either. Gloomy's pretty good, sure. Hella high damage. Granted, some self damage is dealt as well. But and well, I yeah. If you want to tell me who you think should be an A minus, and I'll tell you why I don't think they should be an A minus. But we'll get there. So Tera, she has really good range though, like super good range. Her horizontals, she has so many horizontals, which is awesome. Like that's great. That's a fantastic strength. Her reversal edge options are great. Her critical edge is pretty good in terms of what it does, right? So in Jolly, she gets the Gloomy swap, which is good, and then in Gloomy, she gets a lot of damage. Her soul charge is her soul charging Jolly is it's iffy at best, although 236k, as linear as it is, it's a very good low. And Gloomy soul charge, well, it's Gloomy Coda, right? So it's unsafe, but she gets a lot of extensions. So like 6BB, you can step it though. 3BB, you can step it though, or punish it. And then all the other ones as well. Tera is not great, but at the same time, she has the tools to be great. It's just no one has really taken full advantage of her yet. But I think that she's, I don't know, like, I don't know. I teeter between A minus and B for Tera, to be honest with you. You know what? Actually, yeah. So anyway, that's all I have to say for Tera, but I think she's the best in B tier. And then Taki is the worst at A minus. So previously I was going to put Taki on B, but I was sitting here just looking at it for a second. And so Tera struggles a lot with frame data and stuff. But Taki can actually get a lot of damage. Her pressure is kind of hit or miss. And what I mean by that is some of it's real, some of it's fake. Now Taki has a fantastic A plus B, which is great. Taki can actually get away with using it a lot because of how it's designed and the fact that she can cancel it. Here's the thing with Taki. The onus is on the Taki player to not make too many mistakes and have too many openings, but the onus is on the opponent to recognize those openings and mistakes. You can 2A a lot of Taki's possession transitions. You can duck her 4BA second hit. You can launch punish the 6-6K, which is supposed to be a really good approach tool, but it's not. And she just has a lot of weird pressure, but she can also apply a lot of frame pressure. So I think that in her own way, she's both good and bad. She has a lot of tech ducks as well. Like a ton of tech ducks. Her 3B is super good. Even on block, it's really good. Her soul charge is, it's okay. Her bombs become super insane. No, you know what? Yeah. Thing is, oh, and her critical edge. Taki's critical edge, as niche as it is, it's very strong as well. I'm gonna do this because I'm not really happy with either of these being down here. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Tera's great neutral and turtling moves. I agree. Jolly Tera with good footsies is extremely frustrating. It is very frustrating. Yes. I agree. Yeah, I'll put both these here. I think I'm happier with this. I'm happier with this. Yeah. Okay. So that kind of like wraps up the mid tier. So from Amy to Tera, those 1, 2, 3, 12 characters. You can pick any of these 12 characters, and no one can like get super upset if you're really good with the character. You kind of just have to roll with it, you know. These top 6 rather. Yeah, people are gonna yell at you. They're gonna yell at you. No, not Sophie. I'll explain why. That wraps up A minus. B tier. B tier. I think there are 2 characters. No, 3 characters in B tier. No, not A minus. And I'll tell you why. So, 2 characters. I'll come back to that. So, in Sophie's case, I don't think it's a matter of that Sophie's bad. I think it's a matter of Cassandra is an A tier. There is no Cass icon yet. I don't think Sophie's bad. I don't think Sophie's bad. Let me just make that clear. We put Geralt in A minus because I think that he's outclassed by Mitsurugi. As a direct one-to-one correlation, I think that Rugi is kind of just a better Geralt. In Sophie's case, I think that Cassandra is a strictly better Sophie. Here's why. Cassandra has actual damage, meaningful damage outside of wall combos, whereas Sophie, it's like heavily skewed towards wall combos or 2-6B. And honestly, she has like her 6-6A functions very similarly. And then Cassandra has fine Hori mids, just like Sophie. Her approach game is just as good as Sophie's. Her damage is higher than Sophie. I already said that. Her critical edge is pretty much the same function as Sophie's. Her soul charge is better than Sophie's. So I don't think that Sophie is bad. Oh, and her lows are better than Sophie's. I don't think Sophie is bad at all. I just think that when Cassandra came out, they came out with a better version of Sophie. The only reason you might want to pick Sophie over Cassandra would be either comfort, obviously, or the stab. 2-3-6B, still mad good. The best I-14 punish in the game, I think. Yeah, definitely. Outside of critical edges. And, I mean, shit, it even does critical edge damage if you get double just frame. And even though Cassandra is very heavy on the aggro, you can also play Sophie the same way. Or you can play Sophie defensively. So the best example is, let's look at Sephikai and let's look at Ramon. So Sephikai plays Sophie in a very annoying fashion. A lot of 6-6A, 1K, like pressure-related stuff. Very annoying to deal with. Whereas Ramon, a lot more passive with the character, waits for his openings, starts stabbing it up. But here's the thing. Just like Amy's a better X, Cass is a better Sophie. Yeah, to a degree. To a degree, yeah. It's just that you can play Cassandra the same way you can play Sophie, and you can play Sophie the same way you can play Cassandra. So let's not say that they have to play one way or the other. I don't think any character, really, outside of a couple, are forced to play one way, necessarily. But I do believe that Cass is a strictly better Sophie, at least in my opinion. Obviously, you can still perform with Sophie. Obviously, you can still perform with Garel. You can perform with Xianghua. Like, they're not bad characters. It's just when we're discussing a tier list placement, I think Cassandra is a better Sophie. Rugi's a better Garel. Amy, as comparable to Xianghua as she is a bit of a better character just overall. Cat's approach tools are better than Sophie? Well, she has the same approach tools as Sophie. That's my point. On top of 6-6B and 6B. No, 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 no. You can play anyone any way you want. If anyone tells you otherwise, they're stupid. Soul Calibur is not a game locked into certain playstyles, okay? Now, what? Are you serious? Cass has great whiff punish tools. They're both great characters. But even if you watch Ramon play Cassandra, like, go watch Ramon play Cassandra and tell me that, you can't see comparables between his Cassandra and his Sophie. Like, no, of course they're different moves. Okay, look. Cass's 6B covers so much ground and is safe, and it has extensions, and it's a pressure tool, and it's a punish tool. Her 6-6B is very similar in function. Her 6-6A has literally the same animation and effect and purpose as Sophidia's 6-6A. I don't see how you could argue that. The only move that's different here is Sophie's 6-6B, which is a fantastic launcher. They're so comparable. Like, the characters are so comparable. I don't know why I even have to defend it. They're so comparable. And yet, Cassandra's just a better Sophidia, in my opinion. But you can still play Sophidia. You can still win with Sophidia. Yes, the range is different, but her 6B range makes up that differential. Right? Like, Cass's 6B is gross. But her 6-6A has the same, or a very similar function as a mid-horizontal. In Sophie's case, it's a bit more of an approach tool for sure, but that's where Cass has 6B. So, anyway, that's where I put Sophie. It's not that she's bad. Like, when Cassandra wasn't, like, when she didn't exist, I'd probably put Sophie somewhere here. If Cassandra wasn't in the game, I'd put Sophie right here. Okay? So, I don't know if that maybe helps anyone, right? That's where I would put Sophie if Cassandra wasn't in the game. And yeah, she's super honest. Well, as honest as Soul Calibur 6 can be. And yeah, it's -12. So anyway, Killick. I think Killick is just a bad character. I think Killick's just a bad character. His Wall Rising B is super good, though. Like let's not take that away from him. It's super good. His Soul Charge is a little wacky, but it can be scary depending on the situation. But I have a problem with it, but I'm going to come back to it. His movement is not good. Now here's why. Actually, something like this might be better to show. Maybe not. I'll just explain it. I don't want to boot it up. The thing with Killick is you can't actually do like sidestep backstep on like a pad or a stick, because usually if you do sidestep backstep, that's 214, which means all of a sudden you've gone into monument. So that sucks. So now you're relegated to 876 if you want to do sidestep backstep. And that sucks. Because now the opponent can kind of take advantage of that, because he knows what way you're going to want to go. He knows what way you're going to try to play footsies. And that's just an unfortunate problem that he has. 8 neutral 4. Yeah, of course. Of course you can. Oh, hey, Rich. Taki doesn't want to really back up, though. Let's be fair. The point is you can't really 2-4, otherwise you might be hooped. Now, I was playing on a pad for a few weeks, and I can't imagine that I would do 2 neutral 4 very often. Anyway, that is not like a reason for putting him low tier. I just thought I'd mention it. Anyway, his Wall Rising B is super good. He has a couple of moves that are really good, and everything else is like, why? You can step a lot of his stuff, or a lot of it just starts to whiff, or a lot of it is just super minus. Like, he doesn't really have that X factor. He doesn't have that, like, man, Killick, right? Because they tried to overload it into his Soul Charge. So, Killick's Soul Charge, though, it has weird pressure strings that you can usually GI or step out of. You know, without getting into specifics, you can honestly get out of a lot of the junk other than like the multi-hitting like spin attack with the GI at the end of it. Yeah, sure, he has the super, and if he can combo into it, or like when he's in Soul Charge, man, you gotta be worried about getting GI, dude, because what is it, level, I could be wrong here, but I believe it's level 2 and 3, but it might just be level 3 that he gets a free super. It's like, oh shit. Or whatever it is. It's like a post GI option into super. I can't remember now. But the point is, you want to be worried about GI when he's in Soul Charge. I don't think he just doesn't have like that one thing. He doesn't have that essence of a character that you're like, man, this character's good. Right. His zoning's not bad. It's not bad. But it's not great. Like, just play Mina. If you're gonna play zoning Killick, play Mina. And if you're gonna play close range Killick, play most other characters. Or play Mina. Like, and his Soul Charge is kind of an all-in button. Sure, he can cancel it, but that you've wasted a bar. It barely heals at all. Or your opponent's just gonna slap you in the face because there's that animation where he, yeah, right? I don't know. I don't think his character is very good. I literally don't know anyone who plays this character other than sometimes Party Wolf, Hayate, and Zendo. And I think that guy's full name is Zendo Crescendo or something. Other than that, I literally never see this character. So I could be wrong. Okay, I could be wrong. Kura. Yes, that's right. I could be wrong, but I just don't think that this character has like that wow factor that you're looking for out of your character. I could go through every single character on this roster, and even if it's not the reason you play them, it's a reason that someone would play them. And in Killick's case, usually you're going to say is, or what you would say is, oh, his Soul Charge. It's like, really? You're playing a character just for their Soul Charge? Bro. It's like, that's not a good enough reason. Or like, oh, his zoning. Really? Okay, so why wouldn't you play a different character? Or like, his Wall Rising B. Well, why wouldn't you play another character with better Wall Rising moves. So he doesn't really have any mix-ups either. Um, but with that said, and this is Soul Calibur 6. This is Soul Calibur 6. He's fine. Like, almost every character in this game is fine. You can play him and do fine. Okay? Like, I just want to make that super clear. Every single character on the list, currently, plus one, no, except for one. Every character in the game except for one you can play with, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So anyway, that's my thought on Killick. I don't think he's very good. I think he's just fundamentally sound. You can play him, sure, but like, why? You could play most other characters. And if you like him, hey man, you like him. No problem. I'll be honest with you. I would actually hope that, or I would want his regular CE to be better. Honestly, I want Ling Shang Subo to be a way better super. I don't like the fact that it's kind of it's it is what it is, and I know he can get some weird combo extensions off of it, similarly to Mina, but like, I just wish it was better. I don't know. Like, I kind of wish they made his meter mechanics stupid, you know? If they're wanting to make him kind of a more basic vanilla style character outside of Soul Charge and then really ramp it up, I don't know. I just feel like his meter should be better. Maybe that's just my opinion. I don't play the character, so I don't know. I don't know what the Killick players want in terms of buffs. But anyway, let's move on. And my last character in the B tier is going to be Mr. Yoshi. I think Yoshi's really cool. My problem with Yoshi is that he just has to take his risk reward ratio is very comparable to Ruki. But the thing is, he has a lot of jankiness and a lot of gimmicks. And if you have an I-10 or if you have an I-10, you can actually just cancel it. So I'll give you a quick example. If Yoshi transitions into Dragonfly helicopter, right? As Shanghua, I can 5A and trade or beat every single option out of helicopter with the sole exception of A plus B. But what Yoshi is going to like transition into helicopter and raw A plus B, right? So not really very many. So my point is, my point is like, I have that ability, but when Yoshi, his lows, like what is it? Full crouch 3K? Yeah, sure, that's a really good low, but you know, it's not as scary as Rugi's or his like his mix-ups from Dragonfly. It's like, is it really a mix-up? Is it really, you know? Or one of his better moves in general, where I think it's Flea B or Flea B hold, whatever. He stands on the stick or the sword and he kind of headbutts you. If he does it non-held, it's punishable, and the held version is punishable, but you can step it if you're looking for it. So I don't know. Like, he's got a lot of stuff, but it's almost like other characters do a similar job, but better, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it is, but it's not, because in theory you could GI it or reverse ledge it. Or again, if I have an I-10, which there are more than just one in the game, you can just stab him or slash him out of it. But the thing with Yoshi, though, and like all of that aside, you could argue everything I've just said. The thing with Yoshi in general is a severe lack of, like, well, not only range, but it's a culmination of range and neutral game. So if you look at Yoshi's approach tools, Kappa, or you look at his whiff punish tools, Kappa, and then you in general look at his poke range and such, he doesn't really have a fantastic neutral game, and his whiff punishes are kind of they're okay, unless it's a super close range heavy recovery whiff punish, in which case I'm sure he can get something stupid off of like 4-4K. I don't know what Yoshi's would do there for big damage, but irrelevant. I also think that with Yoshi, yeah, movement against him is super strong. Much like much like Xianghua, you can kind of walk away from Yoshi unless he goes into like Indian stance, and then even then you kind of know what you're looking for. Um, the Yoshi player has to be really good. The Yoshi player just has to be good, honestly. I think he's a really cool character. I think he's got a lot of stuff. I don't think his soul charge is all that great. His meter burn moves are all kind of, they're all not great outside of combo, if you're looking for them anyway. And yeah, I think he's a really cool character. I just don't think he's very good. His biggest weakness, in my opinion, comes from the lack of range, but then also the fact that I don't think that full crouch 3B, or sorry, full crouch 3K should be launch punishable. Maybe that's a hot take. I don't really know, but I feel like it shouldn't be as punishable as it is, in my opinion. And like, so what I'm saying is I want Yoshi to be more threatening, honestly, up close than he is. I would love that. I think that'd be healthy for him, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't balance the game. Can't name a load that strong that isn't also launchable. I agree with you. I agree, and that's my point. Is I think it'd be fine if Yoshi wasn't like minus 18 or 20, whatever it is. I'd be fine if it was just minus 16, where that way only some characters could get a launch punish. Not all characters could get a launch punish. That may not even be accurate. Maybe not every character, but I don't think it should be as minus as it is. Personally, yeah, but Maxi's garbage. We're getting there. We're getting there. That's the last character in B tier for me. Um, Now here's one. I would say, like a lot of people put Cervantes right down here because they say things like he has no neutral or he's just super risky. And I agree. Like I agree with all the Cervantes things. I want Cervantes to be a better character. And I'm telling you, I think Yoshi's full cross 3K should be minus 16. I don't know, hot take or not. I want to see it. I want to see it. Because like you can outrange a Yoshi all day, and shit, I play Shanghai. I can out footsie a Yoshi all day. I want to see that move be better. Whatever, that's me. Um, anyway, my issue with Cervantes stems from the fact that he's just so buggy, and it sucks. It sucks, man. Because I've seen it. Oh God, I see so many clips online, and I've actually seen it happen at like I've seen it happen to Anders at NLBC. I've seen it happen to my local Cervantes player. I've seen it happen to Sultan, where like I'll give you a good example. You're close to the wall, and you soul charge the opponent against the wall. You go for 3BB. You hit them with it. I've literally seen Cervantes ring himself out over a half wall using 3BB on hit. And I'm like, why? Or like if you happen to fuck up high GDR, right? You rung yourself out. How's that fair? Like I just think it's such a silly design to where if you fucked up 214B and you're near a ring edge, you're screwed. Or if you're near a wall and you fucked up, your opponent gets a free combo. Hey, Ivans. But in general, it's the bugginess and the inconsistency of Cervantes that really holds him back. Like, really holds him back. And yeah, exactly. They baby-proof Taki and Talum and Rugi and Waldo. Or, no. Can Waldo still Mantis crawl himself out? I don't even know. I could be wrong on that one. If someone wants to confirm that for me. Anyway, I know Cervantes' neutral isn't lovely, but the range on his pokes is nothing to, you know, is nothing to, you know, ignore. A6 is a pretty good move. His lows, some are good, some are bad. His 3B too. I have an issue with his 3B. There's no reason his 3B should have the sour spot, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe it's a hot take. Maybe that's a common consensus. I don't actually know. But I feel like that's just stupid. That's just dumb. It should just launch, period. You fucked up. You know, like you're getting hit by an I-20. Is it I-20? I-20? You're getting hit by an I-20 3B. You're supposed to get fucked up. Okay? Like that's your fault. So it's I-20. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So those are the two big things for me for Cervantes is his 3B single-handedly and his consistency in terms of bugs and like combo execution. The fact that like you do 3B, well, I'm sorry, I don't know the combo, but like 3B, gunshot, IGDR, entertain me, whatever it is. The fact that you can sometimes double entertain me, or like you'll entertain me and it'll whiff. It's like, dude, why? Why do you do this to Cervantes, bro? It's so unfair. It's not cool. It's not cool. And I think that his soul charge 1K should just be better. I don't like that move. I think it's a joke. The fact that it even comes with extensions is almost an insult to the character. It's like, dude, what? Why? Yeah, dude, I want Cervantes to be like, I would be thrilled if Cervantes was like here. That would be, I would be down. I'd like to see it. But for now, because of inconsistencies, bugs, and bullshit, he's held back. Because even in a competitive setting, you watch Enders here. You watch, wow, Shen Chen. You watch either of these players play, as they're on screen a lot, um, they both get plagued by bullshit that they couldn't even control. And it's so unfair to the Cervantes players. It's so unfair. Maxi in D tier. All right, let's relax. But this is my hot take. With all those bugs and inconsistencies, I still think that Maxi is the worst character in the game. So here is the thing. All right. I have put about let me see how many hours I have in this game. I have probably played against Maxis for probably over 300 hours of gameplay. And I've played against, I've gone all the way from thinking that he was awful to broken to in the middle to broken to bottom 5 to where I put him now. Here is my thing, and I will explain, all right? Again, this is Soul Calibur 6. You can win with any character in the game, but like I said, Cervantes is the one character that might just deliberately or fuck you, right? And it's not your fault. Here is the thing. Let's look at how many Maxi players exist in a competitive environment. Oh yeah, right. That's how many. So there's that. There's what, 2, 3, maybe? Like Rich sometimes when he's not playing as well. The one over in Asia there, Tamageki, is that his name? And like that's it. That's it. Now here's my opinion on Maxi. I think that almost every single player doesn't play against Maxi properly. Or the people who do play against Maxi properly and complain about him don't understand what the Maxi is risking or what he's doing in order to gain the damage that he is getting. So let's talk about this, right? I'm going to break this down. First off, I play Shenghua. I think Shenghua absolutely destroys Maxi. But there are characters who destroy Maxi harder. Now that is so hard for me to believe considering how easily Shenghua handles this character. But Shenghua versus Maxi versus Nightmare. Let's talk about that for a second. Other than like 6A plus B, I don't really know what a Maxi's supposed to do about that. I don't really know. I mean, maybe Rich can shed light on that one, but that just seems like AIDS. I don't know. That seems like AIDS. Other than Shanghua, that seems really hard. But here's the thing with Maxi, right? He is plagued by the ability to, like, almost always being forced into stance. You're able to backstep the shit out of Maxi. You're able to re-GI the manual GI, right? The B plus K in stance. And then you're forcing him to use meter there if he wants to not get re-GI'd. In neutral, there's only one move that beats armor outside of lows. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Is it 6A plus B? I don't even know. In general, like 22A and 88A they're decent, but they're not actually really going to connect all that often, at least in an offline environment. Oh, 6B plus K. Yeah, that's fair. But Nightmare could punish that one, I think, right? His 1B, even though it's a lovely button, it puts him into stance. So if you, like, I'll just give an example from Shanghua's perspective. If I block 1B, I can get a full crouch 3B unless the Maxi uses B plus K. Now, that is the case with Maxi almost always. So Maxi has to make the read, and he doesn't have a choice. And here is the problem. You can still beat him even when he makes the read via ReGI. Now, PSL, it's almost like the PSL active frames on the auto GI are too fast and too short. Because it like some of the slower horizontals in the game aren't going to get hit, and then you're still going to stuff the Maxi out of his stances. And then let's not even talk about the fact that you can just 2k Maxi out of stance if you're really like that scared. Back lower is totally not a real mix-up if you're looking for it. And you can just reverse ledge it anyway if you really were that scared. God, what else? You can auto GI 5BB literally after the first 5B. His 5AA raw is what, minus 12, minus 14? Like if you just did that into block. You can OS a lot of his stances with movement. I think I already said that though. Or you can poke him out of a lot of it if you've got an I-10 or a good I-12. God, what else? His throw game is good. There's that. His combo damage is gross, and his carry is gross, but he has to land those hits in the first place. On hit, you can backstep 1B string transition. Yeah, yes, that's right. Exactly. I don't know. Like, I think that this character, if anyone wants to know, I've put in hundreds of hours against True Circus. And those of you who know, he's a Maxi main who's very good. And he pretty much, I put him top 3 Maxi, period. In terms of Maxi knowledge and performance. So things that he learns about the character come right into me in my ear. So like I've got the up and up on this matchup or this character, and nothing has convinced me more than he has in terms of Maxi being bottom 3, Maxi being the worst character in the game, Maxi having no neutral, Maxi having no pressure. Now, I will say, Maxi does have neutral. I don't agree on that one. I think he does have some neutral. He has some decent buttons, like his 3K is a really good 3K. 6A plus B is a super good move when it, in places you would use it. 4-4B is a great call-out move. 6-6K isn't bad. It's a good tech jump. Like I said already, 2-2A, not bad. But honestly, like, past those 5 moves or so, like 6-6A plus B and A plus B hold is like, because if you do 6-6A plus B, it's punishable. Or again, the Maxi has to make the read. And now oh yeah, and then the held version, you can just step it if you're looking for it. So it's like, well, shit. And like I think 5 ABK, I think the string is, where it's the mid kick, or the kick that you can uh hold it down to be a guard breaker. It's punishable, and I'll be honest, I don't think a lot of players know that. And so it's like, well, shit, that's a pretty good string, but you can't even use it because reasons. So I don't. If you learn the Maxi matchup, you can literally beat a Maxi no matter what stance he's using, no matter what transition he goes into, no matter what he does. And your character probably has OSs to some of his stances that you probably don't know about, right? Like, I don't know, man. I think Maxi is useless. I would put my money on Cervantes over Maxi in terms of tournament performance. Like, the pilot of the character aside, right? Just in terms of this, Maxi has so many glaring weaknesses that are ever evident to me that you cannot play around because of Maxi's design, that it holds him back so much, or it forces the Maxi player to play in such a lame fashion that there's no reason you're playing Maxi over someone else. Okay. Now, I just briefly want to compare Maxi to Siegfried. Okay. Now, you probably know where I'm going with this. Siegfried can cycle stances very similarly. He can get combo potential off of his stances. He has an indefinite GI against horizontals out of base hold, and he has iframes against verticals. So Siegfried literally has buffed up versions of Maxi's defensive options out of stance, and a good neutral game, and better damage, and like it. There, Siegfried is what Maxi wants to be, or even, I know it's not the same, quite the same character, but Talum, even if we're talking something a little more comparable, is what Maxi wants to be. Anyway, I don't really know how to make it more evident than that, but every single time I see players play against Maxi, they they tend to just miss out on a lot of opportunities. They tend to just overlook so many different openings that Maxi is presenting to them because Maxi. And again, like Cervantes, it's not the Maxi player's fault. Like, I don't want to say Maxi players are bad because it's actually the opposite. Maxi players are probably really good, or are really good. It's the character that's the problem. It's not the pilot's fault, right? Um, so anyway, that's my case for why I think Maxi's the worst character in the game. He's the only character in the game where you can literally OS almost everything if you're paying attention, and his built-in mechanics work against him. But you can still win with him. But you're gonna have to try really hard. That's my thoughts on Maxi. So yeah, that's my tier list.